Hello wonderful people, welcome back to Ecox Media. So while President Tinubu tours the world, exchanging pleasantries with world leaders, and his vice, Shetima, who once wept in his office as governor, calling for federal assistance against insecurity in his state, now avoids even holding security meetings, let alone leading troops into battlefield as he once boldly promised on national TV.
I've been in the theater of conflict for 18 years. I will lead the troops. My principal is an economic wizard who transformed Lagos into the third largest economy in Africa. He will concentrate on the economy. By God's grace, I will handle the security arm. Not only handle the security arm, I will lead the troops to battle across the length and breadth of this country.
One man continues to stand tall. That man is.
In a bold and emotional move to save one of the state's most vulnerable towns from falling into the hands of terrorists, Governor Babagana Zulum spent a night in Marte, a border community near Lake Chad. Now, before Zulum's arrival, the village was completely deserted following a Boko Haram attack last Friday, with thousands taking refuge in Dikwa town.
20,000 people have left Marte to Dikwa. This is very obnoxious to the government, to the federal government, as well as the state government. Because this huge number of people is a threat on itself. But alhamdulillah, we came back home. And then yesterday we spent a night here, you have seen, with the support of the Nigerian army, with the support of our gallant civilian jet hunters and vigilante. We are back here in Marte, and then the communities are now resettled for the second time now. So far so good. You have seen we have strengthened the resilience of the community. We have increased the numbers of civilian jet hunters and vigilante in order to complement the efforts of the Nigerian army. The Nigerian army has also increased the workforce that are residing in this town, and we have taken many measures that need not to be explained here because it's a security matter.
Meanwhile, Shetima had promised to lead from the front line in the fight against Boko Haram and bandits, claiming Tinubu would focus on making Nigeria's economy #1 in Africa. But now, as vice president, he is nowhere near the front lines, and Nigeria's economy has grown from bad to worst in the hands of his principal, Tinubu.
Now let's turn our attention to Nigeria, Africa's largest country by population and the continent's second largest economy. That economy, however, is on the brink of a meltdown. Nigeria's inflation is at about 30%, the highest it has been in almost 3 decades, and it's taking a toll. Yesterday, the people took to the streets to show that they'd had enough.
We are suffering. We are suffering for Nigeria. It's not like this before, but we want change for good. Hunger day for Nigeria. Children now, they are hungry. Adults are hungry. Suffering is too much for Nigeria.
So how did the situation get so bad? 2 main reasons. One, the withdrawal of Nigeria's fuel subsidy. It happened the day President Bola Tinubu took office. He announced this in his inaugural address. The fuel subsidy was gone and petrol prices surged from about $1 per gallon to $2.8 a gallon. It may not sound like very much in absolute terms, but imagine if your petrol prices tripled in a day. That would wreak havoc on your budget.
Meanwhile, Zulum, not a soldier, not an international dignitary, but a true leader, has once again shown what real leadership means. For the past 4 days, he has left his office, not for a Vatican visit, not for a 19-day off from office for world tour, but for the battlefield. He is with the troops, side by side, not for show, but for service, for love for his people, for the security of lives and property. Zulum may have made controversial decisions in the past, such as advocating for the rehabilitation of repentant Boko Haram members, but one can only hope that he has learned from those experiences. And this time, there will be no leniency for those who continue to threaten the peace of our nation.
Definitely, just looking at this, I definitely applaud the move by, Governor Zulum, and just the fact that he's been appealing to the federal government to deploy decisive strategies that would ensure that the Marte town doesn't fall, to the Boko Haram group, and going there himself to actually lead the logistics and, find a better way to make sure that this insurgency comes to an end. I'd like to get your thoughts, Rufai.
I mean, Governor Zulum, I must have to confess, is such what I call a champion leader, and he's a champion of his people, constantly doing a lot of work to be able to, stabilize that area. But I think everybody should listen to him. And Dr. Marte, your article was very apt today. Because you see, isn't it shocking that we don't even talk about Lakurawa any longer? We are back to the days of Boko Haram full on. And areas that were taken back, people were resettled there 3-4 years ago. Now we are going back to those bad days. I'm happy he has deployed some level of logistical reinforcement with the civilian JTF, which I must also have to give kudos here because they're doing a good job. And the military that is there, we need a lot more reinforcement. Also, air reinforcement, a lot of reconnaissance going out there, and probably a capacity building measure to be able to take the fight to the insurgents through very, decisive covert intelligence. Yeah. That's what is needed at that point in time. And keeping vigil, and also get the people to be vigilant, and get the people on your side, because the people also will be able to give you that intelligence because they know those that are coming in and out. Most importantly, you wrote about forest, gas today, which is also a very welcome development, because the problem has always been we have large swaths of land. That Borno you're seeing is more than some European nations. We've got large swaths of land. How can we try as much as possible to be able to get effective policing on those swaths of land? That's where the forest guard you were talking about today comes in. And how can we ramp up that deployment and say, okay, how can we put boots on the ground to be able to create these buffers? Yeah. Most importantly, you now need another layer that I call economic empowerment. You cannot devolve all of this. The quick recruitment of fighters by Boko Haram can also be linked to the poverty in that area. Yeah. So how can you bring back all of this, fighting against the poverty in that area? Economic empowerment is key at this point in time. Also, you need to now start the propaganda machine. The federal government, and we are also ready to report the great stories of what is being done by the federal government, but also the local communities there. You need to recruit people that are very influential in those communities to be able to tell them that this is not the time to run, this is the time to stay. This is the time to come together. And anybody that tries to propagate the activities of those bastards, I can use that word, insurgents, because these people are ruining the fortunes of Nigeria, against our people, they should be taken head on, because these people are bastards. And I will use the word, God punish them, shame on them. I feel very passionate this morning, because this is livelihoods being destroyed. And we need to be hard on these people once and for all. Boko Haram insurgency should not have a place in our community and in our country in general. And this is the time to be hard on them. So it's time to turn on the propaganda machine, get the kids back to school, because you also need a lot of education, get empowerment on, provide hospitals, provide, amenities of government in there.
Necessary infrastructure. Very passionate words there from Rufai, understandably so. Yeah. Vimbai, what are your thoughts?
Oh, because it's heartbreaking. This is something that we had gone a very long way in overcoming. And here we find ourselves again. But because we have been able to make progress in the past, it means we can do it again. Yes. So there's hope there. It's not a helpless situation. And that's what I love about this governor, is that many governors would sit at home and cry foul. And earlier I said they would grant press conferences from Government House, from the comfort of, of wherever their fortified settings are. But this, I think I'll use the word uncommon. I know uncommon is normally used for somebody else, but this uncommon governor is going to the grassroots. He's going to the eye of the storm. Now, my question is, imagine how much more Nigeria would prosper if all of the governors could face not just insecurity, all of the various crises that we're seeing in various parts of the country. If all the governors could spend more time with the grassroots, analyzing the situation. And not just this, I also like that he's faith in action, because he also declared a day of fasting. I like that it's not just we're going to fast. We fasted, but we're also going there and we're going to see what we can do on the ground. And this is really where faith, the rightful place for us to position our faith. It's not that, okay, we are doing prayer meeting. No. I love that. But the one thing that I do question is that recently in an interview, he did divulge that 300,000 Boko Haram fighters have been reintegrated into society. Now, this has happened over a period of 3 years. So we now have to ask ourselves, this policy or this strategy of trying to rehabilitate ex-terrorists, is it working, and what are the consequences when you put the timeline together with the resurgence of what we're seeing now? And 300,000 is a huge number. That came from him. I don't know whether it's confirmed or verified, but that was the number that he used. Yes. So we do need to revisit this policy of rehabilitating terrorists or ex-terrorists, whatever they may be.
All right, then, Doctor.
Okay, Borno State has 27 local governments. Out of these 27 local governments, the only local government that has not been overrun before now was Marte local government area. And now Marte local government area has also been overrun by bandits, insurgents, terrorists, such that 300 towns and villages in that local government alone have been overrun. 20,000 people, the only community that is still standing, Marte, 20,000 people had to flee to Dikwa. And now Governor Zulum has gone there. Now, all of that narrative, it reminds us, one, of the fact that the battle against insurgency has not been won. Two, that there is a surge in insurgency, and it is not just in Borno State or the whole of the Northeast, it's also across the North and other parts of, the northern part of the country and other parts of the country. Number three is that the governor has stepped up to say, okay, let me go there and give the people of Marte confidence so that they can be resettled. Now, does this say something about state police? People have been arguing for state police, that these state governors, they should be, if we have the likes of Zulum, they should be chief security officers in the regions, even if the Nigerian constitution does not identify them as chief security officers. Number four, you refer to prayer and fasting. That Governor Zulum, yesterday indeed, declared that the people of Borno State should pray and fast. Well, I have a different opinion about that. Look, when Nigerian leaders can't solve problems, they try to use religion as cover-up. They carry all the problems. They say it's God that will solve it. Now, we blackmail God too much in this country because it's not God that is causing this problem. It is the failure of leadership. It is a failure of all these, their kinetic, non-kinetic, security, architecture. What other phrases, funny phrases do they use? So this should be a wake-up call. And that's why Governor Zulum is calling on the federal government to collaborate with him, that he is ready. He needs the help of the federal government. When he made a similar appeal in April, middle of April, he was told that he was exaggerating the situation. Now this is clear confirmation that the battle against insurgency still remains to be won, and that the Boko Haram has not been technically, defeated or decimated, or whatever phrase that they use. And I hope that the federal government will take, what Governor Zulum has done in good faith, drawing attention to the emergency in the Northeast, and not just in the Northeast. I guess from Borno to Yobe, to all the other states in that axis, help is required. And the people of Marte and the people of Northeast, they deserve to enjoy the privilege of Section 14 sub 2 of the 1999 Constitution, which says the primary duty of government is to ensure the welfare and security of the people
and property of people.
Kudos to Governor Zulum for leading by example. May God grant him and our brave soldiers victory over the enemies of our nation. Ben Ikoku appreciates you for watching. And don't forget to like, subscribe and share. See you in my next video. Peace and love. Thanks for watching this video. Please, before you leave, remember to like, share and subscribe. See you in my next video.
Please hit the like and subscribe button.